Grand evening. Time is about 6:20 p.m. Southern Texas, out in the burbs, Cypress area, and the temp is dropping now. Right now it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Ag Zone 9A, 9B. What I have here is a waterproof timer that came in that I ordered for aquaponic system number 1 for the large fill and drain bed that I'm putting on it. So I guess you would call this a piece of urban farming equipment. Think about that, a piece of urban farming equipment, and this is waterproof too, so it has a lid on it that you can close. It's made to operate outdoors. Weatherproof, awesome. I already have one of these on aquaponics number 2 right here, what we're looking at. And some out here. I want to talk about a few things tonight. I want to talk about the way things are changing in the way we grow food. The way things are changing. The populations in our large cities. You look at New York City. New York City is much smaller than Houston, LA, or Chicago, way much smaller, but New York is the biggest city as far as population. New York has 8 million people. New York City has 8 million people living in it. 8 million people in a very much smaller space than LA, Chicago, or Houston. Much smaller. New York is our biggest city. Then we go to LA. LA has 3.9 million to almost 4 million people living in it. After LA is number 2 as far as large cities. Then you go to Chicago. Chicago is actually losing a large part of its population. Chicago's not doing well as far as economic wise. Chicago has Chicago has 2.9 million people. 2.9 million people. It's the 3rd largest city. And the most growing and 4th biggest largest city is Houston, Texas. Houston is growing like crazy. Houston is up to, I'm thinking, 2.6 to 2.5 million people, something like that. Houston will pass Chicago in the next few years, they're saying. That's how fast Houston is growing. Houston's going to be the 3rd biggest, largest city in the United States. Why am I talking about these cities and farming and all that? Because most of the United States population, most of our population lives in large cities. I just spoke of the 4 biggest, largest cities: New York, LA, Chicago, and Houston. There's another 15 largest cities under that. So most of our population lives in large cities. Why do our population live in these larger cities? Mostly because of the economic power of the jobs they have. And believe it or not, most people do not want to live in rural America, like it or not. Especially now with the tech boom, AI boom. So how does that affect farming? How we get our food? This right here is what people would call a urban farm. It's called an urban farm. I'm not right in the city of Houston. I'm in one of Houston's suburb satellite cities. I'm in the burbs. I'm in Cypress, one of the many many smaller suburb cities that are a part of Houston but are right outside of Houston. Look at those bluegill down there. Beautiful. And what I'm talking about now is how the way we grow food has changed so much. As our cities, our large cities, most of them continue to grow. They're not getting smaller. They're growing. As we look at the farming industry, I'm trying to zoom in on my grow bed here in the dark. There we go. My solar light just popped on. I got closer to it. It has a motion detector on it, so it popped on. As we get to the farming industry, and we talk about what's going on with our farmers. Actually, the farming sector, as far as family farms, are declining. You hear me? They are declining. We have less and less family farms every year. A lot of small farmers are going out of business. A lot of small, I should say, a lot of small rural farmers are going out of business. The big corporate farmers are taking over now. Why is this happening? It's happening because the cost of a small farmer to run a farm has gone way up. It's gone way up. The price of these large new tractors are very expensive. The chemicals they use on their farms are very expensive. The property taxes have gone up. Everything's gone up. So, why am I talking about this? Because I'm talking about what's really going on. I'm talking about the reality of what's going on in our country and how we grow food. And what I'm seeing now is you're seeing a lot more urban city farmers starting their own, grow their own food. You're seeing more of that. And why is that happening? A lot of it's happening because of technology. A lot of it's happening because you have new farmers who are finding new ways to grow food besides owning thousands of acres that's very expensive to take care of and to run and maintain with large equipment. And you're seeing a lot of that now because they're realizing it's a lot cheaper to have a small urban farm right in the city or right near the city. So you're seeing a lot of that. So, and you're also seeing people who just don't want to grow food. People who just don't want to do it. You know, you have a lot of people who are most people are actually city dwellers. That's a reality. That's a fact. Most Americans don't want to live in the country. That's a reality. And as we get more into the AI ship and all that, you see a lot of that. So what you're seeing now is a lot of people who are using technology to grow more food in a smaller space, like in aquaponics, like in hydroponics, like in vertical farms. People who have farms in old warehouses that they raise food vertically inside. You're seeing a big change in the way we grow food. Now, the problem is that's good and bad, but the reality is, in order to have meat, livestock, cattle, you have to have land. You have to have land. A lot of land to grow and raise cattle. I mean, thousands of acres. So, but what's happening with that is most of the cattle raised in this country are raised by corporate farmers. You're seeing they own these large corporations who raise these cattle up. So you're seeing a lot of large farmers basically getting into corporate farming and so forth. You're not seeing any small farmers anymore. You're not seeing that. So I wanted to talk about that this night as we go into the night, as we get cooler here, about how we grow our food and how it's changing in America. People are realizing that they don't have to own large acres of land to be self-sustainable. They're realizing that, hey, I can have a small food forest on my balcony or in my suburb backyard. I can grow lots of food if I use different techniques, new techniques like aquaponics or whatever, or even hydroponics, or even vertical gardening. So the way we are growing food has definitely changed. People are becoming more self-sustainable, growing their own vegetables themselves. And you can do it. You can do it. You probably can't see the water because it's so dark, but the water is flowing right now in the fill and drain system. Right now it's all filled up, and it'll drain back down here about another half an hour to 45 minutes. So I just wanted to share that with you. So the way we are growing food has definitely changed, and it will continue to change because our interest rates are still high, inflation's still high, property tax has gone through the roof. The cost of having getting home insurance on a homestead or a piece of land has gone up. Even a house cost of insurance has gone up. Everything has gone up. So there's so many different changes in our economy, which affects the way on how we grow food. So I'm going to head back in now. Getting chilly out of here. As the temperature continues to drop, we're at 55. We're going to go down to probably, I'm thinking 38. So I'm going to head back in. I just want to share that with you. So right now, what I'm doing is my cut in half IBC tote that I turned into a sump. It's leaking. That's not going to work because that sump is leaking. The IBC tote is leaking. So I have a backup for another sump. I have a 150 gallon tote, large tote, that I'm going to use for my sump for the aquaponics number 1. So not a problem. So next few days I'll have number 1 aquaponics system. I'll have the new grow bed like this up in the next couple of days and growing more and more food. So you guys have a nice evening. Think about new ways to grow food. Think outside the box. Think on how you can save money. You don't have to go broke. You don't have to own tons and tons of land to grow food. Until then, we have to learn how to save ourselves, because ain't nobody coming to save us.